Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2018 Marine Biodiversity and Conservation Capstone Symposium. I'm so glad you all could be here today. I recognize some new faces, some familiar faces, and it's just great to have so many people here supporting our graduating class of 19 students. If you know our program, you might recognize this view. You guys recognize this view? Yeah, this is the view from the Eckhart Building, which is where we live. When you're in the Master of Advanced Studies program in Marine Biodiversity and Conservation, this is your view all day, every day. It's where the offices are. It's where I and others spent some time until 11 or 12 last night. It's where you order pizzas and ice cream cakes so you can study. And it's where you practice presentations and write papers. It's also where we house our program. And our program is unique in that it brings these multiple perspectives and approaches to complicated issues of marine conservation. So we look at these issues through the lens of economics and policy and science and communications and everything in between. And it allows us to really tackle these issues in an innovative way. And it's been home to these students for the last 12 months. It's kind of hard to believe that it's only been 12 months. Because a year ago, these people were all strangers, right? It was just a bunch of strangers. In fact, I met some of them at this very event last year, and some of them met each other at this very event last year. Yep, Kelsey, Jess, Michelle, I'm talking to you. But now that I know them, I can tell you that they're very special. I think it's true what they say, that every MAS cohort has its own personality. And I've definitely gotten to know the personality of this year's cohort. I would describe them as keen. Last year people went to Baja, and they went camping, and they went to music festivals, and this year, Eckhart. Just hanging out in Eckhart. Ice cream cakes and pizzas and papers. They are keen. Wholesome is another word that comes to mind. This word came up when I was talking to a colleague of mine about this cohort and their particular personality. They make interpretive dances and do these weird things with their hands that look like dinosaurs. They write rap videos about citations. There is a citation tool called Mendeley, which you may or may not know, but they have created a rap video about it. It's pretty strange, actually. They do secret Santas. They make flashcards. And they dress like the Little Mermaid for Halloween. They are wholesome. And I really appreciate that. They might be a little bit type A, some could say. They have a lot of questions. Samantha, is there a rubric that you're going to use to grade the blog I just wrote? No. There's not a rubric for the blog. Samantha, what happens if we fail the swim assessment? Can we fail the swim assessment? No, it's an assessment. You can't fail the swim assessment. Samantha, can we have the PowerPoints ahead of time for all your lectures? No, you can't. This is grad school. I'm not giving you all the PowerPoints. And at the same time, they are curious learners. They are open to learning everything they can get their hands on. And they do it humbly, without ego. These are all pictures taken from a research cruise we did out on the Sproul. And I can tell you that they are just committed to these issues, and they want to soak everything up that they can like a sponge. They have fun with everything they do, and they're creative. US Senator Paul Wellstone once said, "Never separate the life you live from the words you speak." And I think that's really true for this class. I don't think there's a single person in this class that isn't walking the walk every single day and living their passion for marine conservation. I think dissecting the barnacle penis was probably when the bonding began. I think that was probably when it really started. And on the Sproul, on that research cruise, things only solidified. If you can believe it, under all these tuna crab that we pulled in from the ocean, there is a species that we discovered. We got 9 specimens of this tiny, tiny sea cucumber that we actually discovered and got to name. And this is it. It's cute. It's a little bit less cute when I tell you that what you think is the mouth is not the mouth. And we named it after a hedgehog, which for me was a good lesson in the fact that democracy is not always appropriate. There's a time and a place. Nevertheless, we did get to name this species, and we did name it after a hedgehog. So we also went to Catalina Island, and there was a lot of bonding when it came to water safety. Nothing helps you get to know somebody like closing your eyes, being spun in circles, and having to get a weight belt off of somebody you really don't know that well. We got eye safety training when we got to look at the eclipse on Catalina Island. And we learned a lot about kelp from what I would say is the queen of kelp herself, Dr. Jen Smith. We had a really excellent time just hanging out in the kelp for hours and hours with Dr. Smith. And of course, in true interdisciplinary spirit, we even made pressings of the kelp, made art out of them later. Snorkel transects, lots of science. That's also great for bonding. And whenever anybody came to town, somebody from an NGO, somebody from an agency, somebody that we could get to have coffee with our students, we met them. We met all the people all the time. And that continued when we went to Sacramento for a California Ocean Lobby Day, where 12 of us went to the Capitol and talked to California state legislators about some of the most pressing issues related to marine protected areas, fisheries, and plastic and trash in our oceans. We learned to negotiate. We learned to negotiate, and we learned to facilitate. And in my opinion, we did it with some of the leading experts in the field. Not everybody caught on. Not everybody got to yes. There was some frustration, but that's real life. That's real life experience. So these are just some of the things we did throughout the year, but it really doesn't even scratch the surface. It's hard to believe it's only been 12 months since these students were just a group of strangers. And now they have certainly bonded. And what inspires me is how collaborative they are. They lift up the whole cohort by lifting up each other. And you'll see it today. You'll see photo credits. You'll see cameos in each other's films. You'll see film credits. You'll see music soundtracks to each other's videos. This group is so collaborative and really does embody the idea that if you lift up each other, you lift up the whole cohort. So I was recently involved in a set of job interviews where we asked the applicants what they thought the biggest challenge facing the ocean was. And we got some pretty consistent answers. Several people said that it's not necessarily ocean acidification or marine debris or fisheries, but it's apathy. It's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of connectedness, and it's a lack of communication. And that really rang true for me. So what I love about this cohort is that these are the people that are going to address that challenge. I mean it. These are the people that are going to be working in federal agencies, in the US legislature, in the executive branch, in foundations, in NGOs, and around the world. And I know that they will continue to bring that collaborative spirit where they lift up their partners and their colleagues in everything they do and communicate the challenges facing the ocean in an understandable way. So I'm just really honored to be here today so that you all can see what they've been up to and the big ideas they have and the fantastic leaders they're going to be. So let's give them a round of applause. Before we begin our program, I just want to say a few thank yous. First, thank you to all the PhD students who have mentored our students over the year. It feels like years, over the year. I'm talking especially to people like you, Clint, who I see right up there, you, Travis. Your work has not gone unnoticed, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you to Penny Dockery, who makes the summer program everything that it is. Thank you to the Scripts Department, especially Olivia Padilla, Denise Darling, Josh Reeves, Gilbert Bertato, Jessica Gonzalez, Maureen McGreevy, Ileana Perez, and Shelley Weisel for everything they've done to help us get this event ready. Thank you to Stuart Sandin and Greg Rouse for their support with the program. Thank you to Dr. Jen Smith and Dr. Richard Norris as the faculty co-chairs of our program. And of course, thank you to all of you students for being here, for choosing our program, for sticking it out, and for having great ideas that you're about to share with us today. Thank you so much.